Hi there guys, I'm Danny, and welcome to this episode of All Monsters Go to Space. Today I'll be talking about the Garuda from Buddhism, Hinduism and Jainism. I have mentioned this being before in the Naga video as he is their main enemy. This being is a large, golden-coloured bird with a large wingspan. It's said to be so big it could block out the sun and cause huge gusts of wind. They could also stop the spinning of heaven, earth and hell. They're intelligent and, according to Buddhist mythology, have social organization skills. They can create cities and have a monarchy. In this religion, they could even take human form and lived in silk cotton trees. Some depictions have them looking like a kite or an eagle type of bird. In Hinduism, they are separated into 4 bands of colour. Their heads were black, from the belly button up they're red, the feet to their knees were yellow, and their knees to belly button was white. They're also sometimes depicted as humans with wings or sometimes having a beak. The Garuda is the king of birds, much like the Naga is the king of snakes. In Buddhism, they are one of the 8 beings that would sit and listen to Buddha's sermons, and are usually depicted as holding a snake. They would also guard Mount Sumeru against the Asuras' attacks. It's said that they would catch Nagas by their heads, but the serpents learned that if they swallowed rocks, they became too heavy and wore out the Garudas, which caused them to fall to their deaths. The ascetic Karambiya told the birds this, and so they would then pick the Nagas up by their tails, which would then cause them to regurgitate the stones, and this is now why all birds pick up snakes by their tails and not their heads. The Mahasayama Sutta epic, Buddha created peace between the 2 enemies, but this was not to last. And in the story of Yufei from the Qing dynasty, around about 1684, the Garuda would be sat at the head of Buddha's throne. At one such meeting, a celestial bat passed gas. The Garuda took offence and killed it. He was then exiled for his rash act and was eventually reincarnated as General Yufei from the Song dynasty, 1100 to 1279. In Jainism lore, and throughout the others that share some of the same legends, the Garuda was Shantinatha's guardian and its representative of heaven and earth. He was a human figure that had wings and was married to Unati, and their son was Sampati. In the Mahabharata, he was the devourer of those who did evil deeds. In the Bhagavata Purana, Kaliya, the many-headed snake, is his mortal enemy. On the first few days of each month, offerings were left for the snakes, and a part of this would always be given to the Garudas. Well, one day Kaliya decided no more. He thought that because he was poisonous, Garuda couldn't get him, so he kept all the offerings. Garuda had become displeased with this and flapped his wings so hard that the snake had to hide in the Kalindis river, a place that the Garuda couldn't go. He had once been rather naughty and took too many fish. The sage Samban cursed him to die if he were to ever return. One day Krishna was swimming in the river and gave Kaliya a beating, in punishment, by stamping on each one of his heads. Another legend of the Garuda speaks of his caring nature. A sparrow had laid her eggs on a beach, but they had got taken by the ocean. She begged and despaired, but the ocean refused. She would then peck at the waves as they came up onto the sand and continued to plead. Garuda saw her and decided to help. He flew to the ocean and said that if the eggs were not returned, he would attack. The ocean then relented and gave the eggs back, and no more came of it. In Hinduism, he is the divine sunbird and was a personification of courage. Here his parents are Kashyapa and Vinata, and his full brother is Aruna. His half-brothers, through his father, are the Nagas. This will play a part in their rivalry, as it normally does. Both him and his brother were born in eggs. His mother incubated them for 500 years, but she became impatient and broke Aruna's egg. Because of this, he was born without legs. He chastised her and demanded she wait for the next egg. She does, and Garuda finally hatched many years later. Now, sadly, Vinata had become enslaved by her husband's second wife, the mother to the Nagas. Garuda pleads with his half-siblings to help release her. They agreed, but with a condition. They wanted the Amrita, or the elixir of immortality some people might know it by. Again, I have covered this story before in our Naga video, although some of the relationships in there seem to be either incorrect or a different variation of the story. Garuda fights the gods, and because of his abilities of thinking and his great might, he was able to defeat them, including Indra. He took the nectar and returned, but instead of giving them the Amrita, he spilled it on the grass and they were left to lap it up. Garuda also willingly became a ride for Vishnu during this time. From all his legends, he has come to represent many things, like as I said before, courage, but also justice and power, and because of his ability to destroy evil with his speed and martial powers, and that he fights against injustice, he became the symbol of the king's duty, and they use it in their insignia. Depictions of the Garuda can be found in literature, art, and in temples, palaces, and almost any place of worship and royalty. In some he is shown kneeling, with a bird-like face, or he will be in the form of a man with slightly open wings. Sometimes he will have 2 to 4 hands, and carrying a snake or the Amrita, or both. In other iconography, he will be sitting by Buddha, and in others he is depicted as a large, fully formed bird more akin to an eagle flying over the land. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please leave a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to be alerted to when we upload. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, in the comments section and on Twitter. Bye!